The trade war between China and Canada has flared up again. China announced new tariffs on a range of Canadian products. This escalation comes after months of simmering tensions between the two countries. The new tariffs target key Canadian exports. These include agricultural products and natural resources. This move has sent shockwaves through the Canadian economy. The situation is being closely watched by the international community. Many fear this could be the start of a broader trade war. The dispute highlights the growing economic rivalry between China and the West. It also underscores the challenges of navigating international trade in an increasingly polarized world. China's newly imposed tariffs specifically target industries that are vital to the Canadian economy, creating a ripple effect that could be felt across various sectors. Canadian canola, a key agricultural export, is among the products hit with these new tariffs. Canola is not just a crop, it's a lifeline for many Canadian farmers who depend on its export for their livelihood. The tariffs also impact Canadian lumber, seafood, and minerals. These industries are cornerstones of the Canadian economy, providing jobs and sustaining communities across the country. These industries rely heavily on the Chinese market, which has been a major destination for Canadian exports for years. The sudden imposition of tariffs threatens to upend this long-standing trade relationship. The tariffs threaten to disrupt supply chains and hurt Canadian businesses. Empty warehouses and idle machinery are becoming a common sight, as companies struggle to find alternative markets and cope with the financial strain. The Chinese government claims that the tariffs are a justified response to Canada's actions, citing various political and economic grievances. They argue that these measures are necessary to protect their own national interests. However, many observers see them as a way for China to exert economic and political pressure. Analysts suggest that this move is part of a broader strategy to weaken Canada's economic standing and influence on the global stage. The targeted nature of the tariff suggests a deliberate attempt to inflict maximum damage on the Canadian economy. The sectors chosen are those where Canada is most vulnerable, making the impact particularly severe. This latest move by China has further strained relations between the two countries. Diplomatic efforts to resolve the issue have so far been unsuccessful, and tensions continue to rise. Protesters have taken to the streets, and both governments are under increasing pressure to find a resolution. Canadian farmers and business leaders are calling for urgent action. They are urging the government to negotiate with China and seek alternative markets to mitigate the impact of the tariffs. International trade conferences are now focusing on the Canada-China trade dispute, highlighting its significance on a global scale. Despite the challenges, there is a sense of resilience among Canadian businesses. Efforts are being made to diversify export markets and reduce dependency on China. New trade agreements are being explored, and there is hope that Canada can weather this storm and emerge stronger. The current trade dispute was sparked by Canada's decision to impose tariffs on certain Chinese steel and aluminum products. This move was not made lightly, and came after extensive deliberation within the Canadian government. The tariffs were seen as a necessary step to address the growing concerns over the influx of cheap Chinese metals flooding the market. Canada argued that these tariffs were necessary to protect its own domestic industries. The Canadian steel and aluminum sectors have long been pillars of the nation's economy, providing jobs and supporting local communities. However, in recent years, these industries have faced significant challenges due to the competitive pressures from cheaper imports. They claimed that Chinese companies were dumping these products on the global market at artificially low prices. Dumping refers to the practice of exporting goods at prices lower than their normal value, often with the help of government subsidies. This practice can severely disrupt local markets and lead to unfair competition. This, they argued, was harming Canadian businesses and workers. Many Canadian factories have had to shut down or scale back operations, leading to job losses and economic instability in affected regions. The tariffs were seen as a way to level the playing field and give Canadian companies a fighting chance. Canada's tariffs were also part of a broader effort by Western countries to push back against what they see as unfair Chinese trade practices. This collective stance aims to address not just the issue of dumping, but also other trade practices that are perceived as detrimental to fair global trade. These practices include intellectual property theft and forced technology transfer. Intellectual property theft involves the unauthorized use of patented technology, trademarks, and other proprietary information, which can undermine innovation and economic growth. Forced technology transfer, on the other hand, refers to the requirement for foreign companies to share their technology with Chinese partners as a condition for market access. Canada's decision to impose tariffs was supported by the United States and the European Union. These allies have also been grappling with similar issues and have taken their own measures to counteract unfair trade practices. The coordinated effort underscores the importance of international cooperation in addressing complex global trade challenges. They have been engaged in similar trade disputes with China. The global trade landscape is increasingly characterized by tensions and conflicts as countries strive to protect their economic interests and ensure fair competition. The outcome of these disputes will likely shape the future of international trade relations for years to come.
China's tariffs are nothing short of economic coercion. These actions are designed to undermine our economy and put undue pressure on our businesses and workers. We cannot and will not stand idly by while our economic sovereignty is threatened. We will defend Canadian interests and support our businesses and workers. Our government is committed to ensuring that Canadian industries remain competitive and resilient in the face of these challenges. We will provide the necessary resources and support to help them navigate this difficult period. We will also work with our international partners to address these unfair trade practices. By collaborating with other nations, we can present a united front against economic coercion and ensure that international trade remains fair and equitable for all parties involved.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has strongly condemned China's tariffs. In a recent press conference, he emphasized the detrimental impact these tariffs have on the Canadian economy and the livelihoods of countless Canadians. He has accused China of engaging in economic coercion and vowed to defend Canadian interests. Trudeau's firm stance highlights the importance of protecting national sovereignty and ensuring that no foreign power can unduly influence our economic policies. Trudeau has pledged to provide support to affected Canadian businesses and workers. This support will come in various forms, including financial aid, policy adjustments, and initiatives aimed at boosting domestic production and innovation. He has also promised to work with international partners to address China's unfair trade practices. By building strong alliances and fostering cooperation, Canada aims to create a more balanced and just global trade environment. The Canadian government has announced a series of measures to help mitigate the impact of the Chinese tariffs. These measures are designed to provide immediate relief to those most affected while also laying the groundwork for long-term economic resilience. These include financial assistance for affected industries. The government is committed to ensuring that businesses have the resources they need to weather this storm and continue to thrive in the future, and efforts to diversify Canada's export markets. By exploring new trade opportunities and reducing reliance on any single market, Canada can build a more robust and adaptable economy. The Canadian government has also filed a formal complaint against China at the World Trade Organization. This move underscores Canada's commitment to upholding international trade rules and seeking justice through established legal channels. By taking this step, Canada aims to hold China accountable for its actions and ensure that such unfair practices are addressed on a global scale. The trade dispute between China and Canada is about more than just economics. It's also, deeply intertwined with geopolitics. The relationship between the two countries has been strained in recent years. This is due in part to Canada's arrest of a senior executive from Chinese tech giant Huawei. Canada arrested the Huawei executive at the request of the United States. The US has accused Huawei of violating sanctions against Iran. China has demanded the executive's release. They view the arrest as politically motivated. The case has become a major diplomatic row between the two countries. The trade war between China and Canada is unfolding against a backdrop of rising global trade tensions. The United States, under the previous administration, imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. This sparked a tit-for-tat trade war between the world's two largest economies. The ongoing trade tensions between the US and China have created uncertainty in the global economy. Businesses are hesitant to make investment decisions amidst the trade war. The escalating trade dispute between China and Canada threatens to further disrupt global trade flows. It could also undermine the rules-based trading system. Canadian farmers are among those most directly affected by the trade war with China. China is a major market for Canadian agricultural products. The new tariffs have created significant uncertainty for Canadian farmers. Many are worried about losing their livelihoods.
"We're caught in the crossfire," says one canola farmer from Saskatchewan. "We just want to be able to sell our products and make a living."
The Canadian government has pledged to support farmers affected by the trade war. However, many farmers are worried that it will not be enough to offset their losses. Economists warn that the trade war between China and Canada could have significant long-term consequences for both countries. They argue that the tariffs will lead to higher prices for consumers and businesses. This could dampen economic growth in both countries.
This is a lose-lose situation for everyone involved, says one economist at a leading Canadian university. The tariffs will hurt businesses and consumers in both countries, and they could lead to a broader slowdown in the global economy.
Experts also warn that the trade war could damage the long-term trading relationship between China and Canada. The path forward for resolving the trade war between China and Canada remains unclear. Both sides have dug in their heels. They show no signs of backing down. Some experts believe that the dispute could drag on for years. This would have a significant impact on the global economy. Dialogue and diplomacy are essential to finding a resolution. Both sides need to come to the table willing to negotiate in good faith. The international community also has a role to play in encouraging dialogue and de-escalation. The future of global trade may depend on it.